joining us in today's webinar on Big Data. Is it a game changer for hiring? I'm Ritu from The Matter, and before we begin with today's webinar, I would like to tell you more about the People Matters in Monster.com India Hiring Outlook Week 2015. It's a special initiative specifically designed for recruitment industry to take an in-depth look into how market forces that will shape year's hiring landscape. The IHO Week is packed with number of online activities by industry experts spread across 5 days, including a series of video launches, webinars, newsletters, and tweet chats. For more details on this, I would suggest you to please do visit our IHO page at www.peoplematters.in/IHO. A little webinar, we have the privilege of having with us Prince Jayakumar, Director Talent Acquisition at Cognizant. This webinar talks about analytics, which is a buzzword today, and every business function worth its salt is talking about using big data to strategize its future. With images of big data in HR landscape, what are actual opportunities at present? Has big data really become a game changer in hiring? This webinar will also tell us about how big data can radically change the way recruitment processes are managed and administered. A little about today's speaker. Prince Jayakumar is the Director of Talent Acquisition at Cognizant. Prince has over more than 17 years of HR experience, of which most of the time was spent in talent acquisition. As the Director of Recruitment, he currently manages recruitment delivery and transformation at Cognizant. In the past, he has worked with European, Canadian service organizations and US product organizations. Beyond India, he has reasonable exposure to hiring in countries like Philippines, Egypt, UK, and US. Talent acquisition, transformation, and change management are his key strengths. Our partners for today's webinar for helping us this program absolutely possible is Monster India. Monster India, leading online career and recruitment resource with its cutting-edge technology, provides relevant profiles to employers and relevant jobs to job seekers across industry verticals, experience levels, and geographies. Today, within 40 countries, Monster provides widest and most sophisticated job seeking, career management, recruitment, and talent management capabilities globally. In 2014, Monster Empire Search was voted Product of the Year under the online job portals category in a survey of over 18,000 people. We have saved for you to ask questions at the end of the webinar session. For those watching the live webinar, you can submit your questions at any time during the presentation through the Q&A tab. We will try to respond to as many questions as time allows. We have a full exciting agenda for today's session, so without any further delay, I am going to hand over the microphone to Prince. Over to you, Prince.
Thanks, Ritu, for the wonderful and setting up the stage and context. Good morning, everyone. This is Prince Jayakumar. I'm Director Talent Acquisition at Cognizant. It's my first time. I'm not used to doing monologues for a long period of time, and typically I prefer my sessions to be interactive, so it'll be nice if you can keep throwing in your questions so that I can reduce my monologue and try and respond to what you want rather than trying to say whatever I have prepared. Said that, I have kept it simple video, so I have 7 main slides plus 1 additional slide, which is more of futuristic. And I'm also trying to session as practical oriented as possible rather than giving theories about big data as a technology or how analytics is shaping the world and things like that. So I'm trying to keep it as practical and as closer to the ground as possible to recruitment. So I'm assuming that most of the participants are going to be in recruitment or in and around recruitment field. So I'm trying to keep it as practical to recruitment as possible. There is a new book which is Workplace, which is by Janine, and in her book, she's exploring, what are the new trends coming up in HR. The first thing she talks is the social ambassadors. Every employee today, every organization, whether be it junior person or the CEO, everybody is a social ambassador today. Earlier, only the senior people had opportunities to blog or be available in social forums, which were all so those were all the people who were writing white papers and attending seminars. So it was always the view of the management or senior management is what the market would hear about an organization. With the in social media, so today an employee at the junior most level was joined a day ago to an ex-employee, everybody can talk about an organization. So that's a huge change in the organization and how they manage information, how do they influence individuals, how do they engage people and all this. A lot of gadgets are in the workplace. We don't know what to do with those gadgets. For example, people wear pedometers, which measures how many steps people have walked in a day, and there are wearables which are coming in, which are integrated with the phone and which gives them reminder, etc. We still don't know what to do with those technologies, and do workplace need to invade into that private space or not? We don't know as yet. Corporate MOOC, this is massive open on content. This is something we can go and even as a simple thing, go and look in YouTube. Today you can go through Harvard professors' lectures, the whole series, Stanford's lectures. You can hear the best in the world teaching courses online. Or the courses taught in those classrooms, they have published all this online. And today you can learn or you can get inputs as equal to a guy who's attending in Harvard, or you can get inputs as a Stanford guy will get. When you look at it from the organization training and development context, is our training and development equivalent to those MOOC content which is available in the net today, which is available in the open today? How are the training department going to scale up and they're going to deliver and match the content which is already available in net? Second way of looking at it is how do we use these content which is online and open to everybody? How do organizations use it to their advantage? So that's shaping the way training and development of organizations view of the whole thing. And there is huge amount of apps come in, and people want beauty in what they do. They want simplicity, intuitiveness in the way they use applications. No longer people interested in typing PA30 or PA40 in an SAP screen and maneuver from screen to another by remembering these terminologies. So today people want it to be, so if they swipe across the screen, if the screen doesn't move, they don't like it anymore. So more and more technology in organizations, the HR tools and things are moving towards intuitiveness, gamification and things like that. And many of these are becoming an app and no longer websites or web pages. And interestingly, the fifth she has noted as the future of workplace is on data analytics, and data analytics becoming the core of the way we hire, and we attract talent. So that's the topic which we broach about today. We are going to look at how this future space will look, and how some of the organizations are already trying to do something around this space, and what is available today, what can we do with the existing technologies is something which we will broach about in today's conversation. So move to the next. So this is a simple definition of how we look at hiring. Predominantly a corporate angle, and probably limited from partners who are from outside. Predominantly from a corporate angle. There are two parts to this funnel. One is the front-ending part, or part which is outside the organization. How do we awareness about our organization? How do we build our brand? How do we create interest in the passive candidates who are there in the market? How do we create interest people who are looking at the job change right now? How do we bring our organization as the top recall in the minds of people? And how do we consider who's the best guy among all these huge amount of people who is in the market, and how do I target the right audience? How do I evaluate and see who's the best fit? And how do I manage the huge amount of referral? So Cognizant has 2,11,000 on board as of now. So how do I ensure that I'm able to access the network to 2,11,000 people, which may run into millions of people? So how do I access this network, and how do I equip my employees to spread positive messages? As I was saying, they are already social ambassadors. How do I make these social ambassadors spread positive news about the organization? And how do I brand ambassadors for the organization and refer their friends and relatives to the organization? So these are challenges which are there. And if you look at what tools do we have today to manage this, we have an application system. Predominant market is dominated by organizations like Talio, which is with Oracle right now, the tool, and Browsering of Connexa, and few other dominant players from an Indian market context. We have Hirecraft, HirePro tool, and few others which are there, which have reasonable installations. If you look at all these tools, one thing not working very well, which is extracting data. The applicant tracking system to extract data from the files and documents we have is what is the biggest bottleneck today. So the moment ATS is not able to absorb the data in, and when it is forcing a recruiter to sit and do data entry job, most of the recruiters don't do that. And slowly what happens is only the selected candidates get into these ATS, and most of the candidates stay outside the system. And the huge volume of transaction processing, what we are trying to do without a tool, then becomes a mess. We are not able to respond by referral. We are not able to respond to every resume which comes through our career portal, and we have huge amount of challenges. If you look at our career portal, is you go to any career portal of any company, and it talks about one single employee value proposition for an employee. It typically says, come and join us. We'll give you a great career. We are a fun place to work at. We have professionals who are here whom you can share the knowledge. So these are all standard dialogues which are there in every company's website and their career pages. So how do you differentiate yourself? Every company within the organization has different departments, and every departments are unique, and they don't resemble each other. In many cases, an infrastructure division of an organization and a business consulting division of an organization are extremely opposite. What do you need to attract, what do you want to say as top things for in the infrastructure space may actually be detrimental if you say those in a business consulting space. So how do you make these career pages of options more tuned to the selective audience? How do you make sure that we are able to send customized messages to people? How do we make sure the career portals of organizations are more engaging and rather than being a dumb site? So these are all some things which we have in the front-ending side. And if you look at the processing or the selection side of things, we have huge amount of job applicants, both in India and North America. The supply is always outwitting demand. There is, if you have one job, there are 5-6 applicants always applying for it. For example, in every quarter we get somewhere around 200 to 300,000 resumes which comes in, 2 lakh to 3 lakh resumes which comes into the organization. So our ability to go through each of the resume and match it against 4,000 or 5,000 resumes which are open at a given point in time, and then give result to an individual saying we don't have a job today for you. But it is still only I don't have a job today for you. The next day there may be new jobs which may be matching that profile. So how do we do this over such large databases on a daily basis? That is still a challenge, and we don't have an answer today in that because there are no matching tools available. First of all, content in a JD is very weak in most organizations, and the ability to edit from a resume is very weak in most of the tools. So matching these two together becomes impossible through a system. So it is predominantly left to an human being to manage this, and we are also well organized to go through it methodically. We allow every recruiter to go and look at the entire database and figure out for himself on what to do. If you look at the interview, are we bringing the top 10 to an interview? Are we bringing in all number of applicants for a particular job? Are we bringing in the top resumes for that into an interview, or are we getting the first accessible 10? Predominantly, we do the first accessible 10, and we don't rank order and give the best candidates to the business. That again is because of to use a tool to rank order. So if we have to use only human mechanisms to rank order, then we are very subjective and we don't do it every time. And every recruiter don't. So there are few recruiters who do it, few recruiters who don't do it. So there is a lot of subjectivity involved in it. And if you look at it, most organizations have 2 to 3% of their hires which are eliminated at a background check. And if you, most of the time when you go and check on, why the background check has failed, it is because of a fake organization, fake degree. These are two main parameters because of which, the person is getting rejected. We do a search for 30 days. We wait for a candidate to join around 60 days. We take another 15-20 days to the background verification, and probably the 100th day or 110th day, we come to know that this guy is a fake candidate. So we list of 2,000, 5,000 companies, and the list is always growing because the fake certificate releasing organizations, be it an education or a company, are always changing their name, finding new avatars to come into the market. So that list is always growing. When every resume comes into the system, or even when we are making an offer, are we diligently checking against this list? Will it be humanly possible time to go and check this? So how do we avoid even entering into the system? So again, that is a challenge when there is volume. So these are some of the things which are the challenges in which we operate today, and many of which, if you look at it, requires technology to solve some of the problems. And at this stage, where comes the big data. So what is big data? Good buzzword. Everybody talks about it. Today, many of them talk about analytics, big data, cloud, and all this. So let us decipher this big data a little bit. So I'm just Wikipedia definition. Big data is a broad term for data set so large or complex. So either the data needs to be very large or the data needs to be complex, which can't be processed using traditional technology. For example, in recruitment terms, we have a resume. If you read through a resume, we will have 500 different parameters which are defined in a resume. The guy talks about different companies. The guy talks about different certifications. The guy talks about different educational qualifications. The guy talks about different projects, different technology, sub-technology, management skills, role, multiple other things he defines in a resume, and then there are 500, 600 data points, variable data points are there in one resume. And when you have multiple resumes, then it becomes a complex data. Traditionally, the ATSs or the databases what we've used store these information as Word document, make the person type critical information in boxes, which will get constructed into a table. Typically, like all of what we do, like in an Excel sheet. So it tabulates an Excel sheet, make the person enter that Excel sheet in different forms. The front-ending form may be different at the back end. An Excel sheet type table is created. Name, years of experience, qualification, companies worked in, and things like that. And when it comes to skill, then people write whatever they want, and that table becomes unusable the moment the guy types irrelevant data into it. And when you recruiter to type this data, most of the recruiters don't type this data or just bypass the system by putting something there, so the data becomes corrupt. So that is in recruitment. And recruitment, the resumes, the volume of just the sheer volume of resumes and the number of parameters within a resume we are dealing with makes the recruitment data qualifying for a big data. So whatever we manage in terms of resumes in different forms, sizes, there is a PPT resume, there is a Excel resume, there is a Word document resume. Most of it is Word document. There are some PDF resumes and different forms of resumes, and there are video resumes are also coming in the future. So it's a complex world, and there are different parameters which we need to work. And current thing is not working. So how does the big data change the world? So the challenge is big data needs to be able to access the sources. It doesn't really focus on the document which you upload, but are there other sources to pull additional information into the system? You extract the data on it and not expect a recruiter to feed in or type every information. Extract the data on its own. Enrich the data. When we go through a resume, we don't take 20 minutes to read the 8 pages the guy has written. Typically, we'll just go on the name. Does the name ring on whether this guy has already applied? Do I know him types? Then directly go into the years of experience, skill the current company is working in. Then go into the skill analytics or skill table what he gives and see the specific skill you have given is there or not. Then jump into his project, see whether he has used the specific skill. If you are looking for Spring and Hibernate, go and see in the project name whether the Spring and Hibernate is there or not. Then you jump into seeing whether he has the right qualification and just read one project or title of a project to see whether this is a fake or not, and then close the resume and say it is select or reject. So this is what a typical human interaction with a resume. When you have to do kind of analytics through a machine, so you need to there should be mechanisms. The system enriches the data by eliminating the unnecessary information from it and brings forward the right information to table. Whatever the recruiter does, if he do this on its own, then we can do a lot of things, a lot of delivery from that angle. So once the system is able to extract data, when the system is able to then say these are the right information from a recruitment angle, then we can build a lot of things on top of it. There can be reports, there can be BI reports, there can be visualization of data, there can be analytics around data. Everything is possible. So let us who are all uses big data technology today? If I look big data technology, I was going through an interesting product very recently, and when we look at the movie of Indian cinema, roughly 2.5 hours of content, it has huge amount of data in it. For a moment, let us visualize the movie in the view of data. If you freeze the screen or if you look at a particular screen, then there is hero and villain, background scene, etc. So there is an interesting tool one startup company has developed. While a movie is running, you can touch a particular screen and it understands that you're interested in that particular screen and saves that as a data. For example, if there is a movie song which is running, if you touch the environment, it stores that interested in that particular location, and it gives you data later to you. As at the end of the movie, you can see that the location what you have chosen was Switzerland, and this particular city in Switzerland. These are the travel agents who can arrange for it. This is the rough budget, etc. If you go and touch hero, then it can say that this is the jeans which he was wearing, and this jean is this particular brand, and this is available in these 4 online sites, and this is the rate of it, and things like that. So there are companies today using big data in a big way. There are companies today which are trying to grasp information from many places. For example, let's take the Google words. Today, when you go on Google, the moment you type, for example, Astra can be anything. Astra can be AstraZeneca as a company. Astra can be a drug. Astra can be something astrology related, and many different things. But when you think of Hyundai car and Hyundai i10 and Astra as a sub element, when you go and type in your mind, and if you go and type Astra, then Google is automatically be able to give you the car first before other searches. So it is able to track all have you searched in the past and arrive at patterns to give you whatever is your preference as a first possible option. So through this, Google money. Google, for example, you do a couple of searches in Google on a car. Say, let us say you are buying a used car, and you are going and typing for used cars in Google. Next time, when you get to a Gmail or when you go into a read of mail, one of your email accounts, the side pop-up, whichever comes, will always be a used car ad. So they are able, use information what your digital footprints, analyze that in an analytic engine, and they are able to, position the advertisement products to you based on the way the analytics happens. So this is how many companies data today. Amazon, for example, all the online media, online retailers, they are all able to use, the online content very heavily. They understand your, digital footprint. Use that to position products for you. They are able to understand social media feeds, and they are able to analyze and position respective products for you. So many organizations are using big data and analytics in giving you a great experience and relevant experience for you when you are getting into their website. So it is great. Many today started technology which is science fiction. So many companies are already using it. So what can we do from a recruitment angle, and is it reality, and can we do anything about these technology in our scenario at all? So again, I take a look at it from two different angles. One is a processing angle, and another is an attracting angle. So from an attracting today, for example, LinkedIn provides customized EVPs. For example, for a same career page, which you can create in LinkedIn, they give you 30 options. So if you are obviously you have to pay money for it, and they are still US brand, and they charge in US dollars. But you can create 30 page organizations career page in LinkedIn based on coming in. For example, if it is a business consultant who is coming in, who is a strategic consultant who is advising CIOs, when he logs into your company site, he sees a different Cognizant. When an infrastructure sees a different Cognizant which is relevant to him, and LinkedIn is able to analyze their background and their history, and it's able to give the specific experience to the people based on their background, what we can offer for them. So this is one way of changing the way we interact with people. Another way we interact with people is, for example, today there are tools which you can to make your career pages and your employee referrals more interactive. For example, there are tools which can, if you use, you can present jobs to your employees. The employees by a click of it can post it in a month for example in LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, or they can send it by email and all. And when whoever is applying to that job, he may be a tertiary network to him. He has posted on his wall. Somebody else gave a like. It got posted on his wall to his work, and then somebody in the tertiary network applies for that particular job. This employee will be able to track that against his name as referral. When he a particular job, when an employee goes into the employee referral page, he can go and look at job, and by a click of it, it can give him the list of people who would be matching that role from his LinkedIn network. How does it work like that? LinkedIn typically, when you go and search for a person in LinkedIn, It will also tell you who are all the people, people who have visited this particular person also viewed a number of other people. So the same algorithm is used to build when an employee goes and looks at a job, it automatically suggests these are all the people in the network who would be more suitable for this job. Would you like to recommend this job to them? Same way, when an employee puts that candidate into his referral page, it suggests that these are the 5 jobs which are more closely suitable for this particular position. There are tools today which are available to do all this, which are very intuitive, very interesting for people to work on, and has creates that interest to proliferate this information. Let's come to the processing side, where recruiter plays a more day-to-day role. There are matching engines available today. So today, for example, the tool what we use internally in Cognizant, you just have to download a list of resumes from, for example, Monster. You have chosen those X number of resumes. You have downloaded a Excel sheet of all the information about them. And all that you have to do, come into the ATS, and by a click of a button, you can upload 100 resumes. There are Excel sheets listing the 100 people, and say upload. The system will automatically extract data from the documents what you are uploading in terms of resume, match that with the Excel sheet corresponding to that, and store that resume in the applicant tracking system. By what is the system doing? It is first of all getting all the information from a resume. It is breaking that down into an Excel sheet type, stores that information, matches that information with multiple parameters like phone number or a name, etc., and maps the Excel sheet information to it, adds that information, overrides that information, and makes a huge Excel sheet out of it. Our resume, it can create 100, 600 columns of data. It can create and keep that data, and then store the resume along with it with a hyperlink, for example. If we can visualize it from an Excel sheet, and it stores that hyperlink of resume, and it has a huge list of all the parameters in a resume. Now, if you look at the search and match, it also decodes the job description in a similar way. It deciphers the job description into an Excel sheet. This job description, we require a person with 3 years experience. We require him to have Java, Spring, Hibernate, Struts, JR and JS, whatever. And then he needs to be a developer and not a tester. He needs to be XY. So it captures all the information on what he needs to be, what he should not. So it captures this information. This is an Excel sheet, and there is another Excel sheet of a candidate. Then it compares these two and says who is the best, who is closely matched. And based on 600 paragraph resume and 200,000 resumes, it can immediately give who is the match, and it can give you a list of top 20 people, and it can rank them. So basically, moving from old systems to new systems, older systems were predominantly relying on the few parameters what people were typing, either the candidate or the employee or the recruiter, and it never goes files of individuals. Even when it goes into the files of individuals, it is unable to read the unstructured data which is there in a resume, and it is not able to make meaning out of that data. So you always were getting wrong results. Even when you are using or even advanced search tools, it was always giving wrong information, or it was able to rank order the information. So you were picking the first 4 or 5 resumes, and all those were wrong, and you never had interest to go beyond that. Say in today's tool, what is changing? Instead of going into every time into a resume by resume and searching, the tool is already that in a database form. When you upload the resume, it is storing that in an Excel form, and then searches within that. Then search becomes easier. Matching becomes easier. Matching becomes more and more accurate, because today they use artificial intelligence algorithms. So to simply decipher the artificial intelligence algorithms, it is the machine starts to learn. How does the machine start to learn? When you upload 500 different job descriptions on Java, the system starts to look at it. Java always comes with, struts or Spring. Java always core Java. So the system is able to identify these patterns and understands that these are all the related terms. Most of the time, these are the terminologies which comes along with this particular terminology. So there is a higher correlation between these two terminologies, and all those it learns. This is computed learning, which is machine learning on its own. There is something called tutored. After the system has understood that these are the combination which is working, based on what the recruiter does over and above that. For example, if the recruiter says this resume is shortlisted for interview, then the system understands, although this combination is there, this got moved into and Y resume didn't go into interview. X resume went into the interview. From the system angle, both were looking similar. X went into an interview, Y didn't go into an interview. The system understands that the recruiter is choosing X more than Y because of what parameter it is. Then it analyzes what are the unique differences between these two resumes and remembers that information. So this artificial intelligence algorithm which works at the back end. So it has tutored, it has untutored learning. So based on the combination of these two, over a period of time, system understands, like a recruiter, what goes with what. Like all of us understood earlier, right? So if there is a new technology, you go to either a Wikipedia or a Google and read about the technology. We understand what is related to what. Next time when we screen a resume, you are able to understand and decipher using that information. Very similarly, Cisco is able to do that using these artificial intelligence algorithms. And all these artificial intelligence algorithms all require periods of time and loads of data. It's not actually period of time. It requires the load of data. If you are able to dump huge amount of data into systems, it learns faster. If you are able to do more and more this tutored learning, where you choose, you make an offer, you make selection, then it understands and learns those information much faster. So that is the kind of technology which is coming in today, and with this technology we are able to make huge decision support. And today there are web crawling tools over and above the information coming in the resume. There are web crawling tools which will bring information from the LinkedIn feeds, Twitter feeds, the Facebook tweets, Facebook feeds, and can bring from social, blog sites which this guy has visited, recommendations people have done, and able to use that neuro-linguistic data and able to bring patterns out of it and able to add to this. For example, you have made an offer and you want to know whether the guy will join or not. And in future, definitely there will be tools which can tell you how his activity on the net, if he is visiting more and more job sites, if he's visiting more and more company websites, then and if his interactions on social media are with or about jobs and about companies, then that he's still active and he's still looking for a job. So those kinds are still possible. And in US there are good tools which is available in the social media coming into the recruitment. But in Indian context, there are very rudimentary early stage tools which are available. And there are data visualizations which are coming into the market. There are visualization tools which I have seen where you don't have to look at everything as Excel sheet or line by line data. You can look at that as a graph. For example, people applied for you today. There is a graph, and the graph is 65 people who have applied our Java, 45 people who have applied our embedded software, 30 people who have applied our hardware design, 40 people who have applied our from BFS domain, etc., etc. And if you click that, it can go and throw further graphs, and if you click further, it can even show a resume. So today, the visuals and the way the UI, the user interface or design are becoming more and more intuitive. As I said earlier, it is all becoming more app. And sooner or later, there'll be more number of apps will come into the recruitment phase as well. I think today most of the job sites have an app, and the adaptation of it is still lower, but sooner or later there'll be more apps which will come into the fore. So these are all some of the things which we all Cognizant. For example, for the branding we use LinkedIn. For the communities we use a tool which is called Ascentify, and we use a technology called Spire for search and match engine, and for decision support and all this. We are still exploring some of the tools which can help us and do all this. And we still use a ATS, which is a private ATS, which we are using. And as I've already said, what organizations are missing is all of these coming together. These are all startups, whatever companies I mentioned, these are all startups which are all exploring the edges of technology and which is bringing big data technology into recommend, but they are still unique to their own space. The search and match engine is a search and match engine. There is a social networking tool, it becomes a social networking tool. There is a data visualization tool, stays as data visualization tool. There is no integrated solution which is available in the market today, which we can say this is the best today. Or there is no one who has integrated all these solutions together and making us a good solid offering. So we still have to make this stitching together of multiple different tools which are available in the market and bring these together to bring business benefit. So what happens is today, for example, 200,000 people apply to Cognizant today, and immediately the guy who has applied or with the employee can get a response saying that there are no corresponding RR right now. So solves 80% of the problem. So we have to deal with 80% of the resumes which just come in. And search and match tool automatically attaches that to an RR which is relevant. So the load is distributed between 150, 200 odd recruiters whom we have. So it is manageable load option which people are able to use. Because of the rank ordering, now my recruiter doesn't have to go do too much of work. He just reviews whether the rank ordering is right and talks to them, spend more time in building relationships, spend more time in building relationship with the candidate, presenting it to the business. So he focuses on quality of hire. Instead of he spending acquiring a CV and shortlisting a CV, going line position by position, resume by resume. Say today he is able to manage his work more smartly. So I think these technologies, as it proliferates and gets more inroads into the organizations, we will see the way recruiter works will become completely different. The typical mechanism of recruiter being a filling agent of getting a resume and shortlisting and further processing will change, and recruiter will become more a consultant, and rest of the things will automatically happen through the system. So that's moving, and I would want to stop my monologue with a quick note on one last thing, which is called Code Hello. And Cognizant, prophesizes Code Hello to become a thing of the future. So, what is Code Hello? Today, all of us are when we meet each other. For example, let us say that I meet a recruiter, and when I see him for the first time, what will I know about him? He is tall. He's hefty. He dressed well. He speaks reasonably English. A nice person. That's all I can assess about a person. So, intuitively, from a human brain, he resembles so and so. So he may have characteristics like XYZ. Is what we assume, and then start to build the conversation, build the relationship. In future, let's assume that if we use a Google Glass, and in a walk-in interview, somebody enters, you will know automatically that he is so and so, and this guy has worked now 8 years with the same organization where he joined from campus. This is the first interview he is attending, and he has interest in these areas, and between you and him, these are the common elements where you can pick up a conversation. I think which of us are leaving behind huge amount of digital footprints about ourselves, and sooner or later people are going to use these information. If you would have listened to some of the TED Talks, when TED Talk was a very innovative and not a motivational speaking thing. So one of the TED sessions was about a sixth sense. Sixth sense is nothing but the guy goes into a retail shop and with a small product-like device. So he looks at a product, and it gives a listing of the product on how good it's rating, what are the competitive products, whether the price is reasonable, whether it is above the average, below the average, what are the other products available on it, and all this. I think, those technologies are entering the market, and in future, probably we may use devices like that, either a Google Glass or that Sixth Sense or something else, in making recruitment, using the halo of an individual. Today, no individual, 6 feet tall, such and has such body weight and things like that. So we can interact with people on his digital footprint and what code halo he leaves behind himself. So that's going to be the thing of the future. I stop here and probably take questions from here. We have 10 minutes. I think I overran by 5 minutes, 3 minutes on my monologue. So I'll wait for questions. Will you coordinate that?
Yeah, thank you, Prince, for such an insightful presentation. And now, as you've said, we will take the questions. I'm reading out the first question for you. Arundhati is asking how important it is for HR to take big data analysis certifications. Which are the institutes providing one? Okay, so
that's an interesting question. Big data certification is a thing for a technology. I think recruiters, we need to know technology. We need to be aware of nomenclatures of a technology and how to implement those technologies from a recruitment angle. But I don't think we need to become big data analytics. I think I will hire you if you get such certifications for the big data team, not recruitment. Next question.
Thank you for answering that. Our next question is from Abhinav Kumar. Abhinav is asking, please can you elaborate on how the auto matching facility is different from a common person software which will extract all the information based on its efficiency?
It's the same. The difference between a common person or still, I would still say, I don't think machine has crossed the human brain, and it's still a recruiter, reading a CV an experienced recruiter. Reading a CV will be better than a system screening a resume. The automating becomes an important element or an important thing when the volume becomes high. When you have to go through 5 lakh resumes, then automatching becomes an important thing. So if the automatching can happen, and you have, for example, at Cognizant at any given point in time, I have 5,000 open positions. So if there is a system decipher all these 5,000 requirements, and if it can look at the 5 lakh or 10 lakh database which I have and do the matching together, then it gives me an advantage of speed. It gives me an advantage of agility. Otherwise, if I had to do it, the process of making recruiters do it, then I would require 100 recruiters over a period of a month to do this activity. So it gives me speed, it gives me, but has it overtaken a human? I don't think so. But it has come very close to that. I think, from an inexperienced or a junior level recruiter to what the system can do, today it is able to match at least that level.
Our next question is regarding with small companies. Seema is asking for small companies where a single person is working on multiple job openings without the ABS, how big data will help in managing hiring process?
That's a good question. So, when we are data has nothing to do with internal size alone. Okay, say if you don't have an internal large data bank, you and me, all of us are going into Naukri or Monster or social media, either LinkedIn or other tools to attract people. So in those spaces, there are still a lot of elements which you can use as a small organization. In a small organization, the more difficult thing is to attract people. It's not the question of processing it. Processing becomes easier because you can just stand up and call somebody to come and do an interview. You know about the company very well, so you can sell the company better than a large organization. But attracting people and making people listen to you becomes very, very critical and very important. And as I was saying, building networks, meaningful tech community yourself, and positioning what you want to say about the organization to a much wider community. All these are possible through big data and the big data tools. And it's not always the processing angle. It is also towards the external on how it can help you target the right population rate and position the right message to the right audience. For example, Google Ads. If you want to go a Google ad, for example, you can give a search word. Whoever is searching for example, a backup and storage. If you give a backup and storage as your keyword, and whoever searches for it, you want to position your organization information to be coming as an ad, you can do that. So there are big data technologies which are available today at multiple different rate points. From a very small spend to a very high spend. There are which are available today to position your organization. As a small company, you can do a lot more attraction using big data rather than looking at the processing side. Processing side is not important. When you're processing number of resumes, you become smaller.
Thanks, Prince. Next question is from Suparna. She's asking, how can we keep refreshing the existing database which we have?
I think it's first of all the question resumes in, and very simple technologies. I think we just have to keep some automated email feature in our database, which goes to an individual email or an SMS and asks him whether he's still looking for a job. As long as you can build that simple feature of currency of an individual, whether he is currently available or not, and like what we know, we're into a Facebook, it says these are all the people who are currently active and gives a green symbol. Similarly, if all your bank can say that green symbol, and every month or once in 2 months, if the system can automatically throw mails at your people, so that your database will become active all the time. That has got.
Thanks, Prince, for taking this one too. So, as Shukla is asking, which all tools you use to integrate your recruitment process?
We use Talio as a backend, and we use multiple tools for search and match and the analytics piece. We use technology called Spire for a front-ending, the gamification and talent network. And engaging people. We are exploring Ascentify, and we are also looking at other smaller tools for data visualization, etc.
Thanks. Question is from Hemant. He's asking, does this mean that the competency set of recruiters would change in coming years? If yes, at a high level, what would it be?
I think competency of recruiter is definitely need to change. I think the competency of recruiter needs to be on broader data and understanding broader trends and ability to catch what are changing in the market, and more on how to bring more hits to the site. How do you make more people look at the information you are posting? So the recruiter's competency will move from reading CVs into analyzing trends in CVs, analyzing trends in the way people respond. For example, we recently did one study on what do recruiters or what do candidates do in a job portal, and why do they prefer X portal versus Y portal and all this. So the interesting thing which came out as it was, one of the predominant thing which came out is the more transactions the recruiter are able to send through a particular portal, and there will be more traffic and more number of candidates are interested in the mails which comes from companies and the SMSs which come companies, and through that most of the people come back into the job portals. So analyzing on what works, what doesn't work, why something failed, why something is changing. These are all things which a recruiter needs to build as a competency, and someone who is a solution provider in this particular space is one competency which will be good. Second competency will be in terms of how do we position and how do we build the brand, how do we position and make more people get attracted to the organization will be second thing. Third thing is how is he able to set expectations, how is he able to build relationship with the hiring managers will again become a very critical parameter. Fourth but not the least, his ability to build relationship with the candidates and large volumes of candidates, which we have not been doing. I think initially when we started off as recruiters, I think we had doing headhunting and cold calls, and we knew each people, at least the important people we knew most of them by name. So in the new world, how do we narrow it down to a manageable people whom we need to build long-term relationships, and who will be critical people in the market to understand the trends and all those. So those are also again a parameter which critical competency which a recruit should develop.
Thank you. Keeping the time in mind, I would just shoot the last question for you, which is from Anubhav. He's asking, when do you see big data entering the Indian market for recruitment?
It's already said. Cognizant, I was earlier, before Cognizant, I was working with Logica, and for the last 4 years, we have been using big data. Big data is something which is going to stay, and it's very critical for us on how we operate. And earlier we adopt, the system can learn along with us faster. And earlier we adopt, we can tune and develop the systems better. So big data is already in the Indian market. It is not of the Western world. Big data is many tools in the Indian market is much more advanced than what is available in North American and Europe market. If you really look at it, the population in India is such a large one, and especially in the IT space, the highest number of IT professionals are in India. So big data and breeding ground will be India, and not any other country. So we already have tools which are much more advanced than the Western tools, and big data is something which will also be predominantly India oriented. Thanks to everyone who has joined the meeting. I think I enjoyed the session. Hopefully, the session was informative and useful to a few of you. Looking forward to connecting with you again later. Thanks Ritu for wonderfully.
Thank you. Thanks for answering all the questions and presenting such an insightful session. And with this question-answer session, we are going to wrap up today's webinar. Once again, we thank today's webinar partner, Monster.com. Finally, our very special thanks to Prince, the speaker for this webinar, for his time and invaluable information that he has shared with us today. I would also like to thank everybody in the webinar audience for participating in today's session. And as I've mentioned in the beginning, this India Hiring Out Week that we are organizing with Monster.com. So please don't forget to join us on tomorrow's webinar on hiring the changing workforce mix, Gen Y versus Gen X, tomorrow at same time. Seema Arora, Senior Director Hiring at McDonald's. So that concludes today's webcast, and thank you everybody and have a good day.